Now in its 10th year, this is Gabnet. Talk like you've never heard it before.
The Ramble with Alex Bennett. Tonight at 10:30 Eastern on Gabnet.
8 years ago, Gabnet premiered a brand new program called The Intersection. Until now, there's only been one host. But all that has changed. It's time to welcome a new person in charge. Presenting Amy Manuel as the new host of the show. You'll find Amy as a passionate defender of the left 1 minute who can easily switch gears to her passion for trivia and popular culture. But don't be afraid to challenge her politically, as the show is open to diverging opinions. Amy is a smart, articulate, and engaging host who loves jousting with different thoughts from hers. Amy and the Intersection, full court on Gabnet, Wednesday through Friday nights at midnight. So, mark your calendar and set your browser to The Intersection, where Amy Manuel is the new guide at the intersection of information and entertainment. Only on Gabnet. Talk like you've never heard it before.
The Exchange with Damian Chaplin. Mondays at 9 p.m. Eastern on Gabnet.
Tell me, aren't you getting tired of those same old talk programs that do nothing but blather on about politics and things that are horrible in this world? Doesn't it scare the crap out of you and make your day miserable? Wouldn't you just like a little respite from all of that? Well, there is. Right here on Gabnet, with a bunch of people hanging out who are, can you believe this? Civil people. Talking to each other about nice stuff. It's an oasis from all that's going on in the world, and it's called Alex Bennett Pop-Up. Mondays at 4 o'clock, live on Facebook.com/abennett. And then later, you can get it on YouTube and at gabnet.net. So why not mellow down and chill with civil talk by nice people on Gabnet? Talk like you've never heard it before.
Gabnet needs you. Yes, Gabnet needs you to call our live programs and be a part of the citizen panels. It's the most innovative talk format yet, because it's not just one caller, it's a group of callers interacting with the host at the same time. Here's how you do it. It's simple. First, download Skype at skype.com. To install it, answer 4 simple questions. First name, last name, email address, and your choice of ID. Then launch Skype, go to Add Contacts, type in Gabnet Live, and ask to be made a contact. Then you're ready to be on the citizen panel. If you're too lazy, well, you can always call on the phone at 347-352-0079. That's 347-352-0079. For all the information and a call button for Skype, log on to gabnet.net. At the bottom of the page, you'll find a video on how to call us and how to use Gabnet. It couldn't be easier. It couldn't be more fun and exciting. We're new. We're different. But we need you to call. So for crying out loud, call or we'll kill this dog. Don't worry, Fluffy. They won't let you die. I'm not kidding. Call or Fluffy gets it. Oopsie.
Alex Bennett has been in broadcasting for 65 years, and in all those years, he's never run out of new ideas to play with the media. Until now. Yes, Alex admits that he's run out of ideas at 82 years of age, so from here on in, it will be the same old thing, which, considering his last great invention of the Citizen Panel, isn't half bad. It's a group of callers at the same time batting around the day's news and looking at social issues that affect us all. And best of all, arguing with each other. And then there's Alex himself, always the hypochondriac, who hates Trump and a lot of other things that an old man complains about, and complains about, and complains about. Join America's old fart as he doesn't get any younger. Wednesday through Friday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on Gabnet. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Now in its 10th year, this is Gabnet. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Hey everybody, this is Alex, and this is the Ramble, and we go until midnight tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, oh look who's there.
Hi.
Hi, Lori Thompson. Yeah.
How are you doing, man?
Do I look okay? I don't look pale today, do I?
No, you look fantastic, man.
Because I was balancing the color, and I just felt I looked too green.
You look green. No, your couch is green, but you're not green, and I'm green.
Yeah, I
guess.
guess.
We're hogging all the green. You couldn't be green if you wanted to.
That's right. So I'm a little tired today. You'll have to excuse me. But last night for some reason, I don't know why, I don't have a bad back. Okay.
Now I have a little, but you don't have one. You're lucky, man.
No, but it's been raining, and it's been cold, and all of a sudden yesterday, my back started killing me, and then this torn meniscus, which hasn't bothered me that much, was agonizing, right? So,
yeah.
So Marjorie gave me one of her pain pills, her heavy pain pills that she uses
the
for
good
her back.
stuff.
Yeah,
Does it have oxy in it?
I think it used to, but it's
before they made it politically correct.
It's a different kind now, and so I took it, and for some reason, I don't know about that drug, whatever it is, I have a hard time sleeping on it. And so
That's
all night
unusual.
long, you ever have those nights where you do sleep, but you think you're awake?
Right, it's not documentable sleep.
Oh,
yeah.
man, and so I'm loopy right now, but we'll have a couple of nice conversations here. You're getting ready to go to California, right?
I am, and I've got to say, it always amps my anxiety. I mean, if I'm going to take a plane 20 miles, it always amps my anxiety.
I hate it.
Yeah.
It used to be, when I was a kid, you'd go to the airport, you'd walk down a hall, and at the end of it, there's an airplane, and you got on it, and it took off.
Heaven. Yeah, or close to. Yeah.
Well, it's not that way anymore.
No, and plus I'm trying to keep it all in a carry-on bag.
Yep.
And so I've packed and unpacked like 15 times. And I've got it down to this carry-on now. But you imagine yourself in every situation. It's like, well, I want to look cool. I don't want to look dumb. So I don't have the shoes to make me look really cool. So I got to modify.
Well, you're going to the worst kind of thing you could go to for pressure. You're going to kind of a reunion.
Yeah.
And so
exactly.
You want to look better than all the other people.
Or just as good, I'll settle for just as good.
Yeah. So you get all dressed up, and shall I wear this, and what kind of shoes shall I wear for that? And that's why I don't go to those things.
Especially if you fly. But now Lisa Carr's going to be there. I'm delighted to see, and she's driving in from Vallejo. She can change her clothes 10 or 12 times before she decides.
Well, this is a Live 105 reunion, is it? Is that what it's called? And what's interesting is nobody invited me to it.
Well, then I told them I would relay the information, which I have.
Yeah.
Over the time, and that's just sometimes people get. They lose track of folks because the email is not current or something like that, and it's not. Believe me, it's not intentional.
Yeah, well, anyway, I probably wouldn't have gone anyway, because to begin with, here in New York, you have to find the exit.
Oh, well,
you knew how you got into New York, but you can't remember how to get out.
Yeah. It's like the Hotel California.
Yeah. So that was that's my biggest problem. And the other thing is, I was going to make the little video for them, but then I figured I don't know what to say, so I'm not going to do it.
Oh, and that would have been fun.
No,
but I
just give everybody my best.
Okay.
And tell them that I'm too old and infirm to make the trip.
I won't tell them that. I'll just say he had a pressing meeting with the executive branch, something like that. Something good that'll cause that buzz.
Yeah, right.
That's what you want to do at a reunion, cause a buzz.
Why are they doing? Is there a year attached to this for the reunion? I mean, is it so many years since or whatever? Or
I don't think it's that specific. So, because people that have just started working there, from my understanding, will be there. And so I'll get to meet some new people. And my favorite kind of thing where I know some of the people, I'll meet some new people. And I think a lot of people from the past, because I looked kind of at the list, but like Rick Stewart, Big Rick, and his wife Vidya, who also worked for us, it was like they live in Vegas now. So it was like, well, I'm coming. See, this is the trump card that we would both get to play.
Yeah.
I'm coming all the way from Florida. And so then when someone's coming from Vegas, I said, throw that in their mug,
Yeah, well, also, I don't want to leave here because I prefer the homeless in New York to the homeless in California.
Oh, it's a better brand of homeless?
Better brand of homeless, yeah.
More resilient people.
Yeah.
They don't bitch about being homeless.
I remember once years ago, I'm walking down the street and this guy, we used to call them, you know what beggars are called actually? Mendicamps.
Mendicamps?
Yeah.
Well, you drolling out.
Mendicants, that's it, mendicants.
Okay.
And this mendicant comes up to me with his hand out and says, "Can you give me a quarter? I'm trying to buy a yacht."
How can you resist that?
I gave him $1.
Yeah, buy 4.
That's too brilliant,
Oh, yeah. Well, like I'm more prone to give someone, if they have a sign that says, "Who am I kidding? I want to buy a beer." And I'll give them, okay.
Yeah.
That'll turn on you, fella.
Yeah.
But
so give them my best, and I would.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't get what to say.
Well, you're on the spot. Plus, it's different when you're at it. Like, I'm going to try to Zoom you. Just get a few people that and kind of line them up like a producer would do.
Oh, sure, do that. I'd love to do that. Yeah.
I thought you might get a kick out of it.
What time is the thing out there?
It's 4 to 6, and so that is California time, which would obviously be it'd be 7 to.
Okay.
Would it be 7 to 9?
That's on Sunday.
Saturday.
I'll be here. Okay.
Okay.
I ain't leaving. I never leave the house anyway, so
Well, you got all your stuff. Plus, you haven't tripped out.
I can't walk anymore. Really, I'm telling you the truth, because I took that fall, okay?
Yeah.
Then my knee got all banged up, and then it got infected, and then I'm on antibiotics now to clear it up, okay?
Yeah.
Then I also pulled the meniscus in my knee. I had a bad knee, but then they put cortisone in there, but that doesn't take care of the meniscus, and I just, between all of those and the fact that I take certain medications that, I have the neuropathy and whatever, I find it hard to walk because I don't have balance,
That's it. It takes away the confidence of walking. Yeah. And
so I'm walking with a cane now. Well, today I needed it because of the cold and everything that was hurting, but I just carry it now ever since that fall, just for me to feel safe,
confident, and secure and safe.
But I haven't needed it. I haven't fallen. Although I did fall again, but in this apartment, in this room, right after show, I have this green screen back here, right, and I had it down, but it rolls up. It's in a big thing, and I tripped over it and some more bruising and
Muscle memory. See, after I sprained that ankle, now I fall to the ground. Boom. I mean, no warning, no anything. It's
really
instant, and my face is on the pavement.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's only
wonderful. That's what's happened to us, folks. That's what's happened to us.
Well, I've kind of learned to sense it now, and I can usually recover and then, make a big deal like, "Oh, look what was in my way."
Yeah. But I worry a little bit that that I just don't. I'm getting older and older and older.
Well, I know, and we got but those, it's It's a fun option because I have prayed since I was 12, I think, to age gracefully. I still don't know exactly what it means, but
Have I aged gracefully?
I think you've aged great. I do think you've aged
You're
gracefully.
lying through your teeth, lady.
I am not.
Oh, you're
No.
not. Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah,
You
so
say
there.
not.
It's Lori's word. Lori says,
Well,
S-E-Z.
if Lori says S-E-Z, right.
I was gonna, if I ever had a website, it would probably be that. Just me and my mental meanderings.
Yeah.
But yeah, why that happens is muscle memory.
Mm-hmm.
Like even your body has a little of it when you go in for surgery, even though you're knocked out and you don't feel it. Your body remembers those things. And so I don't know, it's something about like with a sprained ankle, my ankle starts to roll and it happens so quickly that you don't notice it.
Really?
Yeah, and all you can do
I
is
don't have
remember.
that. You know what mine is just simply that as you get older, there's the thing that happens to you is you lose balance. And
You do?
Yeah. I mean, I especially some of the drugs I'm taking helps with that.
That will.
But I mean, I don't feel confident that I have the balance. That's what really is bothering me now.
That's what the thing about aging, you really have to work to keep your confidence up. And when we take confidence in our body for granted.
Yeah.
And you just have to maintain that. And meditation helps, prayer helps.
Yeah.
All kinds of things can help you with that confidence. Because when you had a bad fall, your confidence is a little chipped.
Yeah, well, that fall was not a good one. Not a good one.
No, I know. As if there's a good fall.
Well,
that was so
I was
fortuitous.
thinking that, if they really cared about older people, they would make the sidewalks out of rubber.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not have them made out of a softer material rather
Like a
than this
spongy.
hard pavement,
Yeah.
With concrete that isn't smooth, it's ridged so that when you fall, it's like a razor shaving off an inch of your arm,
Ooh, yeah, I know. Or asphalt. So you're gonna have a pebble permanently lodged in your cheek.
Yeah. Now, do you believe in coincidence?
I believe things happen. It's just like on a loop. There was a Kurt Vonnegut line about a loop, and I think that given the multiple times that this civilization has turned over, it's going to kind of establish some patterns in the universe.
Yeah, well, let me tell you my latest. Now, my biggest, what can I call it? The biggest coincidence that I ever had was when I was sitting at home in San Francisco, and there was a guy known as the subway shooter who went down into the subway and shot at a bunch of kids, right?
In New York, right?
In New
When we were
York,
in
right. And I'm trying to remember his name now. Forgot it. But then again, that's my brain right now. He went down and he shot Bernie Getz. That was his name. And so somebody calls me up and says, "Did you hear about that subway shooter?" I said, "Yeah." They said they finally caught him. I said, "Do you know where he lives? He lived in the building you lived in."
Whoa.
And he probably lived right above you or below you, because were you an 8I? And I went, yes. And he went, oh my God, that's his apartment now.
Oh my gosh.
So I left the apartment, and I've always felt guilty that I had something to do with those guys, one guy being lame for the rest of his life.
See?
Because if I hadn't moved out, Bernie Getz wouldn't have moved in.
This is true. And if you'd cleaned with bleach, not only would you get your deposit back, Bernie Getz would have been brighter and more enthusiastic about life.
He complained to my friend Al Goldstein, who got to know him, that we left the apartment in a mess.
Oh, people always say that nonsense.
No, I can't help it if he is a neat freak.
Right, everybody
He wants
has a
to clean up his apartment and then the subways of people he doesn't like. So,
Yeah. He's taken it to extreme.
So that up until now, that's been my greatest coincidence. I figured when that happened, I wasn't going to win any lotteries, nothing. All the possibilities of coincidence had been spent on that particular thing. Well, I was wrong.
Oh, you got another one in the pipe.
I have
What is
another
it?
one just happened.
What?
Well, you've heard about the fact that Donald Trump now has been considered a fraud and can no longer do business in the state of New York because the judge did a summary judgment, which a summary judgment is, especially in civil cases.
Yeah.
You don't have where the judge is going to have to decide what's right and what's wrong. There's no jury or anything like that. It's just pled in front of a judge, and then So he can do a summary judgment in which he says, well, looking at what you've handed me already, I can already make a decision on this, and that's what he did yesterday.
He fraudulently inflated his worth or his assets, right?
Okay, now you're probably wondering where this is all going.
Somewhere.
Okay. We had this big case with our landlord and with the apartment and the guy who rented it to us, and all went on for 10 years. And in the end, we wound up in court, of course, before a judge because we couldn't suss the thing out. And guess who the judge was?
Who? Same one.
The same one. Judge Ngaran. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Especially things seem so big. The world seems so big.
Yeah.
But I've learned as I travel more that, and see, if you've been raised in the church, which I was, you see things as not mere coincidences, but a blessing, a charmed life, just, something that happened.
But this, when I saw this happen, it was this judge. Because I was watching TV and they showed the paper, the decision, and it said Judge Ngaran, and I went, "Oh my God, that's my judge."
It's a small world.
And in spite of the fact that we came out okay on the deal. At the end, when we had decided what we were going to do, and we had made peace with everybody, the landlord and this guy, and they still had to go on together against each other. The judge pulled us into his office, and we sat there and we talked for about 10, 15 minutes, and he is really a nice guy.
Cool.
Genuinely a nice guy, but he doesn't put up with any crap.
Yeah.
And there was some crap, say, from the landlords, and in his decision, he just railed against the landlord, And in the case of Trump, he did exactly the same thing. In fact, he was so mad at them, he supposedly at one point was pounding his fist on the desk because he couldn't stand. He said, "I won't put up with these kind of lies in my courtroom."
Whoa, it sounds like Suits. Yeah.
Yeah, and he admonished his lawyers and said, "You should know better than this."
Whoa, taking off the gloves.
Yeah. So so that's my coincidence.
Well, very good. And they
definitely not winning the lottery now.
No, don't even buy a ticket. But this sounding, this dilemma that you encountered sounds like a Key West rental situation. There is so much graft and grift down there. Like I sublet.
Where?
Key West. I lived there for about a year. Worked at a really fun station.
Oh, so you lived in Key West. So you lived near Hemingway's home, right?
I did, with the cats.
And the cats are still not the same cats, but
their legacy, their lineage.
Few generations later, because he had how many cats he had?
So you know how cats are. They think they own the place, and they do soon.
And they do.
But assertiveness. But my mom, when she came down, when you live there, you don't really do a lot of that tourist stuff. But my mom
went to the very tip of the United States.
Oh, yeah, there's a big buoy that says you are at the southernmost tip of the United States. And people get pictures there. I think I even have one when I first moved. But there, I sublet from a guy that I found on the internet, or maybe just found by word of mouth. and he had a food truck. So he said, "Yeah, come down to my food truck." I called him, and I will rent you this part. It was half an apartment for $1,000 or $990, and so it was great. Little did I know that he was a career fraudster, and his specialty was identity theft. So I gave him a big deposit because he said the rent would be, he would take some off the rent. Well, all the money I paid him, it was somehow he was doing a pyramid scheme and keeping his money in the air and using my money to fund and then pulling other scams. So it was none of the money that I gave him was going to our rent. And this went on for about.
Oh, wait a minute. Now, but he owned the apartment.
No, he didn't. He had sublet it to me.
One of those deals. Oh, forget it.
And in Key West, if you're moving there, you got to really, you need something rather quickly. And the rent, because like hotels are $300 and $400 a night, and so that's a consideration when you're taking a sublet. There's an urgency to take a sublet. Mm-hmm. And so I did. And then he came to me, and I'm such a naive Midwesterner sometimes still, that he said, if we pay rent in advance, then it will be a bigger discount, and we'll only have to pay this much. The landlord said,
so what you're saying is he then got your money, but didn't pay his rent.
Exactly. And so the way he tiered it was at the first couple months it was one scam, but he learned the second and third and fourth months required.
He saw a real sucker coming along, didn't he?
I hate to say it, but he did.
Oh boy!
And so when I contacted the state's attorney, because he got into my checks without me knowing, obviously, and forged one for $10,000, and thankfully, my bank in beautiful Bloomington, Illinois, thank you, Nancy Ammerman, at Heartland Bank, caught it. And she said, "Lori, we have a check here, for $10,000, and we don't think it's your signature on the check." I said, "Well, who's it made out to?" And they told me his name. I was like, "Well, that's my roommate, and I think we need to have a sit down." And so when I called the state's attorney, I said, "I'm looking for his name," and they said, "So are a lot of people when you've just been ripped off. You don't."
Really?
But they caught it. They did not honor that $10,000 check. I love Heartland Bank, but they, but that was a pattern. And then I found out he had done time in several states for such things. So it was sobering.
So what happened? I guess you had to get out of the apartment, right?
Oh, I did. Yeah. And it was just a nightmare. Like I related to you when you were describing your situation, because it's a nightmare. You go to sleep not knowing if you're going to come back tomorrow with your house padlocked. Right. And I have nightmares about it. It's a different place, and it's in different places, but it's always the same
I always
thing.
had that great fear because, we're in this situation where we have a landlord that would love, they every day I think they say a prayer because they're devout Jews that we're going to die. Okay.
Does that sound very Jew-worthy?
Well, because they want us to not be here. They love us not to be here.
Right, but to pray for your downfall.
Because the same judge, Judge Engerin, his decision was that he considered that the landlords were being fraudulent, and that in a way of punishing them, he rolled back the rent to what it was in 2003 to $500.07 a month.
Baby,
okay.
Score.
So now it's 2 years later, and they have to renew that lease. We have to renew the original lease, right? No, they suddenly send us the lease renewal for $2,600 a month.
So that would be more than 5 times the amount.
It doesn't matter. It's supposed to be based on the lease that they signed.
Sure.
Well, that wasn't. We've been trying to get them to send us a new renewal. If we don't sign the renewal, they can then throw us out of here. But the fact is, we've now done a lot of things to prove that we're taking action. My lawyer, and by the way, it just exhausted their last possible appeal So they're through. They gotta live up to this, and we can't. Still haven't seen my renewals changed.
So you just tell your lawyer, hey, this guy is not
Oh
doing
no, the
this.
lawyer's doing what he's got to do. We sent him a
Good.
letter saying you got to do this. You've exhausted every appeal. This is the law. Send us a renewal, and this we haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, lawyers are like agents. They cost a lot, but they get you more.
Well,
Fiscal.
in this case, I don't think I've gotten more, but I've gotten something.
Right, you've gotten something that
But,
you can live with.
I mean, it's just a lot of work. Just a lot of work. Hey, I just saw that we've just run out of time. Can you believe that? Can you believe that?
It flies when you're having fun.
No,
Or fun.
no, I just have a great conversation with you. Can we make a date to do this next week?
Oh, let's.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's Lori Thompson. Bye, Lori.
Now in its 10th year, this is GabNet. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Lori. Actually, that was a repeat of Lori. I'm going to tell you why. I got a thing from Lori today because we're supposed to record today. And she says, I can't. And I said, why? And she says, I hit my eye, my cornea on something. And then she had to go to a doctor, and they put a patch over her eye, and they gave her antibiotics, and they gave her pain medicine. And, well, she just couldn't record a thing for us today. So we decided to run a rerun. That's why I was talking about the middle of winter. Okay? All right. Anyway, I got one person here is trying to call. Let's see if we know who this person is, because I don't recognize that person. Here they are, and let's see if they show their face. Are they going to show their face? They're not going to show their face? Okay, then I'm going to remove them right now. Okay? Remove. Okay. There we go. Oh, there we go. Oh, wait a minute. CB. Oh. See, I didn't know that was you. Okay. Can you talk to us? Are you giving us an audio at all?
I got audio.
There you
How's
go.
that?
There you go.
Sound good?
Okay. All righty. Well, I didn't know it was her. Let's let everybody else in here too, because when you use a different name, it screws me up. So if you can,
I'm sorry. I will come back in.
No, don't.
Well, nobody else will recognize me.
Don't call back in. Don't call back in. Just right over on your name, you can do rename, and you can put your actual name there. Okay.
Okay. I see the rename. I never had to do a rename.
Yeah, just rename it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's fine.
That's fine. Okay.
H-I-L Meyer.
Who was that you talking about?
Phil Meyer.
I never heard of him.
Oh, yeah.
Not in a long time,
Somebody sent me a message with a picture of the vice president candidate for Kamala Harris, and they look a lot alike.
Who?
Like Phil Meyer, yeah.
Him and Phil Meyer, same glass frame and same balding and all that kind of stuff. They do look a lot alike.
Just because he's balding and he wears glasses, he doesn't look a bit like Phil Meyer.
Oh, yeah, he does. I don't know if I still have the picture. I'd email it to you.
Doesn't matter. I know it wasn't Phil. As soon as he opens his mouth.
Oh, I know it wasn't Phil, too.
Yeah. Anyway. We have a new vice president nominee. What do you guys think of him?
I love him. I think it's great.
Well, you'd like anything the Democrats do. Okay.
No, he passed all kinds of progressive things in Minnesota.
Yeah, I'm with Charlie.
I think
you know that. I used to talk about, last week I was talking all about walls.
Yeah, well, I mean, he seems to be okay. He seems to be an amiable chap, who has done a lot of nice things.
If I can get my...
What?
I have my I'll just email it to you if you want. I don't know if you can see it. The
It's kind bright.
Brightness is way up on my phone. Let's try and lower the brightness temporarily.
Well, does that mean the person handling the phone? No.
Yeah, that's me.
Anyway. Hello, Josh. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
We see you on a Wednesday because you're available Wednesday and Thursday, but not Friday.
Correct.
I mean, am I getting your schedule down?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it this week, yeah.
What's it been,
there you
2
go.
3 years? I don't know.
Doesn't that look like Phil Meyer?
No, that looks like walls.
You can't really see from that little tiny picture.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, let's do our whole show holding up pictures from our iPhones.
Doesn't matter.
What was I going to say? Oh yeah. Oh well, I was telling you about what's her name, Lori. And hold on a second, I can show you here. Here is if you want to see pictures. Here's Lori, and oh wait a minute, let me see. My God, of course. Oh, here we go. Here is the picture of that Lori has. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. There we go.
Oh, don't show pictures of her with her eye patch.
Well, you'll see her next week without an eye patch, but that was her excuse, and I'll accept it. Okay.
She didn't want anybody to see her looking like that.
She's not that vain a person. She wouldn't mind me showing that.
Then
why she would have been on?
She would have been on, yeah.
No, she wouldn't have been on because she was in pain.
Ah.
She told me she was in pain and the eye was hurting her. And so because of that, she didn't say because I don't want people to see me this way.
Oh, okay.
Hey,
well, I wouldn't want anybody to see me with an eye patch.
It's always fun to be seen in a pathetic light, you know? Let me see here. Okay, so we got a bunch of people here. Good start. Let's see if anybody else calls. No, but you like Walls. You think he's okay? Okay.
He's great.
I have a question for Charlie, though. I liked Walls, but I was listening to Roland Martin, and he had said that blacks in general were having issues because of the riots and bringing in the military and all that. And I guess it was the National Guard. But what's your take on it, Charlie?
I think that's BS because he did bring in the National Guard. Trump never brought in the National Guard. So how are they going to use that against him?
Well, they thought it was excessive force, and then he supposedly helped to forgive the police department. So
yeah, everybody's getting too sensitive about everything.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
I mean, yes, Minneapolis was a place where that whole horrible situation took place. All right. He had to do something to quell the rioting.
Yeah.
He didn't want other people to die. If he didn't quell the rioting, they'd be yelling at him today about that.
Well, they were mostly yelling at him because he helped to allow either no sentence or a lighter sentence or something for the police officer.
Life imprisonment. How's that?
Was it?
Yeah, I would say what's his name? Never got on.
Yeah, life imprisonment. I don't know what lighter.
By the way,
no, that's fine. I did not follow the story after that, and I got the impression from the discussion that they were having that it was something that the black community was still, a little bit upset over. So I'm just checking with Charlie.
Well, there's no problem with the black community in Austin, Texas, anyway.
No.
Okay.
Well, of course, and Charlie, as we know, speaks for black people everywhere. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was at the gym and they had Fox going on and they have CNN going on, a couple other stations, and the headlines for them were talking about Walls. His military background is discovered or something like that, And then they start talking about something with him in connection to China. And it's just like, oh my God, what the heck are they?
They're grasping at straws.
Yeah.
What they're saying about him and his military record is he served most of his military in the National Guard. Well, somebody has to serve in the National Guard, and he did it for 20 years.
He got all
they keep saying exposed, you know, and it's like all the stuff they're talking about is everything everybody knows. So I don't know what exposed.
You can look on Wikipedia and see it all. Yeah.
He made it all the way to like one of the top enlisted men, command sergeant major or something. I mean, very few people make it.
He was a social studies teacher. That should give him even more credibility than National Guard.
Absolutely.
Well,
and his wife is a teacher. You know?
Yeah.
I mean,
She still is.
what do they want?
You know.
But let's compare him to J.D. Vance.
Yeah.
That's a train wreck. You want to talk about
forget about them for a moment. I mean, we got to talk about our guy and if he's up to the task and so on. The other thing that if you go over to Fox, I love this one. It's a bunch of white guys. Okay, a bunch of white guys, bunch of what we call goyim, which is a non-Jew, discussing whether the Democratic Party, or implying the Democratic Party is anti-Semitic because they didn't nominate what's his name from Philadelphia,
From
Pennsylvania. Shapiro, as Marjorie likes to call him. Shapiro. It was anti-Semitic of the Democratic Party to do that. Listen, you goyim, shut the fuck up. You know? I mean...
The leader of the Senate, talk about power, the leader of the Senate is Jewish.
Absolutely.
Yes, you're right. The leader of the
Senate
Senate is Jewish. Yeah.
Yep.
And he happens to be a Democrat, by the way, who doesn't seem to complain about...
Wait a minute. Roberta just brought this up. Kamala Harris's husband is Jewish.
Yeah.
Of course, we know that.
Yeah, so how is this... so what if the vice president candidate?
The people who yell anti-Semitism the loudest are people who are not Jewish.
Yeah.
You know, and they decide they're going to determine for us Jews what's anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
All right. So they're throwing that one around. I mean, she could have. Anybody she would have picked, they would have been on his case today.
Of course.
Okay?
Of course.
Because they're desperate. They're absolutely desperate. They don't know how to handle this situation. It's something they've never had to deal with, you know.
This guy brings a lot to her her campaign, I think.
I think he brings a certain continued lightness and joy.
His first speech, the first day was great. No teleprompter. He's never used one.
No, wait a minute. He used a teleprompter yesterday. Okay. Here's the story. When he was being vetted, they were having the little get together, and he said, "Well, I have to tell you one thing about me," and like they're all grabbing their chairs, you know, because they don't know what he's going to say. He says, "I've got a real problem." And they went, "Well, what is it?" And he said, "I don't know how to use a teleprompter." And there was like this massive, supposedly, sigh of relief around the room. You know, he said, "No, I don't know how to use a teleprompter, and somebody's going to have to teach me." And so what they did is backstage, before he went on yesterday, they had a teleprompter there for him to practice on. Okay, so he is using a teleprompter now, but he's never ever used a teleprompter. All his speeches were, you know, coming off the top of his head.
Yeah, off the cuff.
Trump's off the cuff too.
Well, no, what he does is he has a teleprompter. There are words on it, but he doesn't read those words.
Yeah, that's what I figure.
Or he reads a couple of words and then he makes up something to fill in the gaps.
That's what Robin Williams did all the time. Hey.
Yeah.
But it was just amazing to me that they were blaming him for, this new guy. He's if I have anything against him, he's toast. He's just crispy toast. And he's a little too goody for me. I would like a guy with an edge, but I know that wouldn't be any good for this ticket.
He's got an edge. He speaks his mind. He answered back all of these complaints that the Republicans.
He had one good line about oh God, I forgot now.
J.D. Vance, yeah.
Yeah.
You mean the couch thing?
Oh, the couch thing. Yes. I'll debate him if we can get him out from behind the couch.
Yeah.
No, he's definitely got an edge. Did you hear that Morning Joe just ripped into him because he's a Shapiro person?
Yeah, Morning Joe wanted Shapiro. Yeah.
Well, Shapiro was a bad idea for a couple of reasons. Number one, she probably is going to win Pennsylvania without having to have a vice presidential nominee who's from Pennsylvania. If you're going to give up the whole election because you want to get votes in Pennsylvania, you got problems. Okay. The thing is that the biggest problem with Shapiro was that he was Jewish and pro Israel. Okay, and that would not play well. There'd be too many demonstrations out there and everything. This guy doesn't have that on his back. And I think that was the biggest problem. Not that he was Jewish, but that he was pro-Israel. And that, or at least perceived to be pro-Israel. And that would cause far too many problems. And so,
He didn't like Netanyahu.
No, he didn't like Netanyahu, but then again, I don't even think
most Jews that I know don't like Netanyahu.
I don't think even Netanyahu's wife likes Netanyahu,
Right.
I mean, who could like Netanyahu? They don't like him in his own country. But the point is that, you're either, in some people's mind, you're either pro-Palestinian or you're anti-Palestinian. And you can't be pro-Palestinian and pro-Israel at the same time, which you logically can be.
Yeah.
I'm pro-Israel, and I'm not pro or against Palestinian. I just, they have the right to exist.
Well, I hate Israel. You know why?
We know that.
Because they're all Jews is the reason why.
Yeah, well, there you go. Then they're not all Jews. There's a lot of Catholics and Muslims and stuff that live there, so.
At least 20% of the population.
I was kidding.
Was that a joke? I'm sorry.
Well,
that was a deadpan. Didn't you get it?
The great thing about you and jokes is you not only can't say them, you can't get them. So,
Yet nobody got him on the panel until you said so. And nobody got it, And
Charlie was laughing.
You're starting to tell the joke. Well, he laughs at anything. You're starting to tell the joke like me.
Charlie doesn't laugh at anything. It's very hard to make Charlie laugh.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just want to let everybody know there was no blood in my fecal matter. I'm screened for 1 more year. I just opened it up.
Thank goodness I am not eating.
Did they send your fecal matter back to you?
No, one way.
Did you send that? Was that one of those things you send in a box?
Yeah. It's from my doctor because my family doesn't have any cancer issues, so I get to do this yearly.
Well, no, but everybody gets to do that yearly, but not put it in a box and mail it away to some poor family who needs it. What? I mean, I had years ago, I had a joke that I came up with a slogan for Goodwill Industries. You remember Goodwill Industries? And they had all these big collection boxes around town, and you would throw your clothes in there and toys.
They still do.
Yeah. And I said, the trouble is that you're just not appealing to the core audience. And you've got to change your slogan to, why not drop your load in our box?
There's something.
Alan doesn't get that.
Alan gets it. Alan doesn't find it funny.
The wife said,
a little cute.
The wife said, "Oh, I'm going to donate clothes for the starving people," and then the guy said, "No, how your sizes are, they're not starving."
Anyway, by the way, did you notice that Marjorie, gave me that shirt with blood all over it? It looks like it's got blood all over it, and it says "Problem solved," which is a great T-shirt. Yeah. She had a friend who thought it wasn't funny. I mean, it wasn't just like, "Oh, it's not funny." It was like, "That's not funny," like she was upset by it.
So Brian doesn't have cancer in his poop, but his State Farm insurance just got canceled.
Your insurance just get canceled?
No, what is he talking about?
He just saw the logo.
I saw the logo.
Alan makes funny jokes.
I thought it was good.
Everything's funny to him.
Yeah. Anyway, so hey, Bree, you're sitting over there in Malaysia. How does it all look to you? Do you like this guy Walls?
Yeah, I mean, seems affable enough.
So really, you think the Democrats have got a good bench, as we call it, right?
I think it's going to be a close election, but I do believe that there will be violence if and when, Trump does not win, and that's unfortunate.
Well, then I have an idea. Let's let him win so we don't have any violence.
Trump always puts the FBI down, but they find some guy that's a terrorist from another country who's here to assassinate him a couple days ago, and they foiled the assassination by posing as something.
As people are willing to take $5,000 to kill Donald Trump.
Right. And so, I'd do it cheaper, but I'm just kidding. So, but I don't want to see him get shot. I want to see him lose at the ballot box.
I want to see him lose big.
You saw him get shot already. He got shot.
Yeah, but if he gets killed, he's going to be the biggest martyr we've ever seen, and then there's sheer violence. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's right.
I think opens his mouth.
I disagree with Bree. I think it's going to be a rout. That's what I'm predicting. Well, how about you? Let's go to our real expert here, Josh. You think it could be a rout?
Well, I mean, if the momentum they have keeps building, it's possible. But I mean, everything that we have as far as evidence right now says it's going to be close. And the last one was close, and there are still large swaths of this country that support Trump very heavily. I mean, we've talked before, even, you and I personally. I mean, the neighborhood that I live in, if I just took this computer out and just drove through this housing development, you guys would lose track of the number of Trump signs, flags, banners. I mean, you wouldn't, I think that you would be amazed. I mean, it would look like, I'm telling you right now, more people have that out than will put up Christmas lights this year. And I am not exactly.
I believe it.
I mean, so he has a real strong, connection in certain areas. Now, I think if we went up to downtown Columbus and we drove around the immediate neighborhoods that surround the 50-story buildings, you wouldn't see that, right? Okay. So are the people that live there going to turn out better than the people that live here? And that's going to be across all the 50 states, Yeah. And, some states it's not going to matter. I heard a joke this morning that said Trump was going to visit an important swing state on Friday, Montana, right? I mean, which is, look, he's going to win Montana, I mean, so some states it's not going to matter.
They say as Montana goes, so goes the nation.
Sure, right. I mean, so, I mean, it's very possible that what you're saying could happen, though, if the turnout, if the turnout gets, like, if he can repeat 2008, or no, it's not he, I'm sorry, if she could repeat 2008 Obama numbers, well, yeah, right? But I don't know. I mean, I think it's trending in that direction.
Yeah.
But it's very, very early.
Yeah.
Obama was on a platform for change. That was 2008. Trump was on a platform for change. I mean, drain the swamp was the same theme.
2016.
You know, we didn't change over to business as usual. Let's settle everything down and have, you know, eliminate the chaos until Biden. Well, right now it's unclear whether the message is going to be change because of the economy, or business as usual, let's end the chaos because of Project 2025 and Trump. It's unclear which message is going to resonate with the ones that count. Again, you know, every time it's pretty much the same thing over the past few years. I mean, backaways, any state except for the hardcores could flip either way, but we know which ones are the battleground states, and those states are, I mean, the numbers are going back and forth. I mean, Hillary won the popular vote, but Trump got it because of the Electoral College. And that's just going to keep happening. And so one of the reasons why they said that they picked Walz is because Trump has been really campaigning hard, not just in person, but, you know, through emails and other direct mail stuff and calls into the Minnesota, thinking that he could actually draw, because if you look at some of the analyses that they've shown, Minnesota is so rural and so much of it, and a lot of that area has gone to Trump constantly, and Biden only managed to get that one, you know, because of the major cities.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, another thing that Walz, I think they hope does for them is that in an area like mine, but put those million, you know, tons of those out there across the country, I think they're hoping, you know, that if the husband goes in and votes for Trump, that his wife doesn't. You know, because those are votes. I mean, you know.
Well,
I
got to tell you something. I got to tell you something. Let's look at the lay of the land right now. It's pretty it's pretty unpleasant. It has been pretty unpleasant. All of a sudden, there are two people coming into this game with a more positive message.
Yeah.
And I think there are some people who are going to go, you know, I've had enough of this Trump with his. I mean, if you think about it, Trump's message is America's in trouble. America's terrible. It's a terrible place to live. And these people are saying, no, it's a great place to live. We just got to make it that way, you know?
That's
and there's
what
a
I
very
said.
positive message, and I think that positive messaging is going to resonate with people who are just so fed up with everybody arguing with everybody else. Bree.
I've been playing with the electoral map a lot, and every time I play with it, it comes down to Georgia. I think that Harris doesn't necessarily waltz into the White House. I think they get Wisconsin and Michigan, but I think Pennsylvania is going to go Trump. And I think Nevada will go Harris Waltz. I think Arizona will go Trump. And so for me, it comes down to Georgia. And remember, last time it did too, didn't it? So unless, you know, Trump and his operatives have figured out a way to, you know, fix that problem that they had last time, it's for me, it's going to come down to Georgia. Let's see.
And what did Trump do in Georgia?
By the way, I'm from Pennsylvania, and my doctoral dissertation was on presidential press agenda setting framing theory. So not that I'm completely out of the loop, but because I haven't been there for a while. But this is how I see it. I don't see it's a cakewalk. 75% of the people don't know who Waltz is, and a lot don't know who Harris. What you're seeing is a lot of excitement about, you know, they're doing the identity politics thing, and if these people can get out and vote. But if you're watching certain media, it's completely amplified. I'll tell you, when Hillary Clinton
on
went
the
up
other
against
hand,
Trump,
let me stop you for a second there about Pennsylvania. Yesterday, they held a rally in Pennsylvania. They held it in the same auditorium that I think the day before or a couple of days before Trump had held a rally.
Yep.
Go check the picture of the rally with Trump and the rally with her, and it's the night and day. There's an enthusiasm. That's what we're talking about here.
Yeah, but was that the city?
Of course that was the city.
Yeah, well, yeah. I want to hear what Bree finished, Bree, because that was interesting.
Yeah. Well, yeah. If you remember back there were a couple elections where I thought that the candidate I voted for was sure to win, and it didn't go that way. So, I think right now, if you're watching MSNBC, if you're YouTube in that algorithm, you definitely get this feeling. And remember also, Taylor Swift came in on this Tennessee election, and she said, "I don't like Marsha Blackburn. Let's vote for the Democrat, please." Taylor Swift, and no, Marsha Blackburn won.
Yeah, but who does Taylor Swift appeal to but a younger audience who really doesn't vote?
Well, they did turn out. They've been critical in these elections that come down to the wire. So I don't know. It's possible.
Josh?
I mean, Pennsylvania. I mean, I'm not from there, but I live in a neighboring state. In 90 minutes I can be in Western PA. Traveled extensively throughout Pennsylvania many times, and Western PA and Eastern PA, they're like two different states. I visited the Flight 93 Memorial in like 2022, maybe, or late 2021, maybe November. I mean, you're talking like a year and a half after Trump had lost, and driving these back roads to the Flight 93 Memorial, where it crashed. I mean, he had lost, and it had been a year and a half, and it was still his stuff everywhere. I mean, no one took down any banners. No one took any yard signs out. They were still paying to keep the billboards up along the 2-lane road. So it'll just be, again, about that turnout. But I will say that
how much influence do you think that the governor has in that state to carry that vote for her?
I think that he has some, now, and somewhere like Somerset, PA, Western PA, I don't care if he went to everybody's house and spoke to them personally. They're going to say, that's nice, but no, I didn't vote for, it's like that thing from the West Wing. Didn't vote for you the first time, don't plan on voting for you the second time. So.
Okay. But let me ask you. Let me ask you this, and I would posit this question: They have currently taken a new tack with Trump and with his running mate, and that tack is calling them weird. In other words, they're weird, and they are. They are. They're not only weird. I think I would add the term bizarre. Okay. Do you think that maybe people are just tired of weird?
Well, Charlie wants to say, so here's what I'll say is yes, because I told you before that about 2 years ago or so that I went to Little Rock and I visited the Clinton Presidential Library, and my wife and I walked through there, and there were all these huge pictures and videos playing of, late 1991, 92, Clinton running, and his family, and the positivity, and the young looking, and the Fleetwood Mac. And I said, God damn, that's what we need to get back to next time, not knowing what Joe Biden would do. I mean, that we have got to get back to that positivity. He was talking about family values. He was talking about jobs. I mean, he was talking about things that I swear to you, the Republicans talk about today, and lecturing about how the government can't teach your children family values. You have to do it as the parent. And I mean, positivity, we will fix it. I still believe in a place called hope. And I mean, the whole deal. And I think they accidentally stumbled their way into it. I mean, that's what I think.
Well, didn't Obama win under?
I think it was it was the economy.
Well, that was his main deal, but that's what I'm saying it was a positive message. I mean, listen to his convention speech where he says, George Bush doesn't think America exceptionalism is that great. He made fun of it. He just doesn't get it. I do. I'm here. And, and he did a really nice job at playing up the strengths of his vice president, Al Gore. I mean, right there in his convention speech, he says, George Bush doesn't have this, he doesn't have that, blah, blah, blah. Another thing he doesn't have that I have is Al Gore. You know, I mean, they really ran strong together. I mean, it was, Al Gore was younger. I mean, it was just, it was.
Well, don't
but it was
forget
very
Ross
positive.
Perot also.
You know, well, right.
Ross Perot
I'm not
also.
talking about that was the results. But what I'm saying is the type of campaign that they ran, for whatever the reasons, it was successful. If you win a race, whatever people say about it after it's over, you won the race. You know, so, you know, I mean,
No,
it was
Josh is right.
but
I'll
it was
tell you why you're
validated
right.
in 1996 is the point. In 1996, it was validated in a landslide win over someone saying all this crap for the last 4 years was garbage. And people said, I don't think so. You know, so
Well,
the success plan is there.
No, Josh, you're right. And I can tell you, first of all, Alex wanted to see Pete Buttigieg. Why did you want to see Pete Buttigieg? Because you liked his warm, personable self, right, Alex? As Alex walks away.
I gotta go get a soda. I gotta go get my
I think people who had positive. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just going to say,
Go ahead.
plus on the phones, when we were doing phone banking, it's people just want to stop the chaos. They just don't. I mean, Trump and all the wars back and forth and all the tweets and the stories, and they just want, okay, let's settle down. Enough. Let's have something positive. I agree with Josh. This is what we were getting from the public.
I think that John McCain, Mitt Romney, you know, Dukakis, Mondale, I think they all ran positive campaigns, but they didn't win. You know, John McCain was one thing I'll never forget about him was when somebody said to there was an elderly woman in the audience who said he's not even from America, and John McCain stopped and said, you know, you're wrong about that man. You know, Barack Obama is a fine American, and I'm happy to run against him or whatnot. That was amazing. I thought.
I remember
that was one of the most amazing moments in American politics in the last couple of years. I wish we had that kind of civility right now. You know?
Yeah, I agree with you.
Well, just because a positive person. Go ahead.
Is that Trump, every time he opens his mouth, he puts his foot in it. What did he do when he went to Georgia? He sat there and spent 20 minutes talking about how bad Governor Kemp is, and Governor Kemp is very popular in Georgia. How's he going to win Georgia doing that?
Governor Kemp is also a Republican.
Right.
I think
so. How's he going to win Georgia doing that?
I think a lot. What
he goes to that national black journalist thing and puts down black journalists all over the place. How's he going to win the black vote doing that?
To a large extent, it's not, you know, Trump or Harris. It's the, you know, people will go in and just vote the party, and they think when they ask people, will you be better off economically under Harris, or will you be better off economically under Trump? They always select Trump. They say, I'm going to be better off, rightly or wrongly.
You know why they do, though? They do simply because he was on television saying he knew how to handle money. He never knew how to handle money. You can go through his entire history, and he did nothing but lose money.
Well, the current polling on that question, though, in the U.S. is currently about a 55-45 answer, actually. So it's not everybody. I mean, it's running about 55-45, but then there are 2 or 3 other issues where if you ask a different question, such as about personal freedoms or, you know, integrity and things like that, Harris is running at 60-40.
Yeah.
So,
let me ask.
Behind in all of those categories.
Let me ask you guys a question, and woman a question here, and that is, how important is the border question? I mean, I know I'm not asking how important is it in this election, but they make such a big deal out of it being important, and I'm saying to the average American, how's it really affecting them?
The polls, it's fairly far down on the polls, except with Republicans. It's very high, and that's because it's been talked up, and it's been made one of the main points.
Yeah, but realistically, How important is that to the average American? I mean, even here in New York, as a result of that whole thing that's happening at the border, we've got unparalleled migration coming into New York, but not because they're coming here to be in New York, but because they were put on a bus in Texas by the governor.
I don't blame them.
There's some island there, isn't there? Isn't there, Alex? There's some island. Some island.
Yeah, we have an island that we put them on. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's the most important issue, but to a lot of people, it is important. More so among Republicans for sure. But I think that if Democrats as a whole would sort of embrace it a little bit and take it on, they can have success because, you know, as I said before, I talked to you guys this weekend about some polling in Ohio. You know, Trump has won Ohio both times. Will win it this time. You know, J.D. Vance, Ohio, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But Sherrod Brown has been pretty strong on the border, wrote a bill to crack down on fentanyl traffickers, mandatory minimums for them, all that kind of thing. And here he is running against Trump's handpicked Bernie Moreno, and the latest polling out in Ohio shows Sherrod Brown up over 5 points. A 5-point win for a Democrat in this state is a fucking pretty serious win. And Sherrod Brown is as a pro-union guy as you're going to get. Can't stand China. Can't stand jobs that leave America, and is tough on drugs crossing the border and illegal immigrants. Mm-hmm. So
Ted Cruz is not happy about his situation in Texas either.
Right. So there is a formula for some success with moderation. I mean, you know, how do you explain Sherrod Brown being up 5 points against Trump's handpicked guy in the state of Ohio? I mean, right? I mean, I think nationally they should be looking at that, you know, and Sherrod Brown is a Democrat's Democrat, but he has to represent everybody. He has to play the game. You know, the big story here last week was that Sherrod Brown is not going to attend the DNC, and he is not going to appear with Kamala Harris at the DNC or campaign with them. Why? Because he's up 5 points. Let's not do anything to fucking rock the boat. Yeah. Because if he loses that Senate seat, they probably lose the Senate. Yep. So she's not going to win the state, but he can just leave it be. I mean, he needs to go to the DNC no more than I do. You know, I mean, you know, it makes no difference. But my point is that he has some moderate things. He appeals to working class people. He appeals to some white men that live here, and he certainly appeals to their wives. You know, and like I said, women's vote, men's vote, gay vote, transgender, it's all a vote. You know, I mean, if you're a politician nowadays, to me, that's how you have to look at it. Now, Trump doesn't look at it that way. You know, there are certain people that he gets up there and says, well, I'm happy if they don't vote for me because, you know, I don't like them. Well, I don't see that as a recipe for success, but
and don't forget,
he got elected, so maybe he's right, you know.
Going back to
Sherrod Brown has been there forever.
Going back to Alex's question about you know, what's important in the polling. Remember, I did do hundreds of thousands of conversations, discussions with voters, and we were pitching at that time Dean Phillips versus Biden, and Dean had a plan for immigration, and we were able to get a number of people who were concerned about that to buy into Dean based on that. So it was of concern to them. It was a point, but it wasn't the main point. We usually use Project 2025 to scare people into thinking what could happen if and I don't mean scare them like it wasn't something, of course, that was irrational or something fantasy. I mean, Project 2025 is real, but they weren't aware of it. We introduced that. And that was the key, let me tell you. I mean, because everything embodied in Project 2025 is scary shit. And that, you know, when we talked to them about that, that was an important thing.
Yeah,
well, I think, don't they also tie the border in with crime and economy? I mean, Trump tries to
definitely.
Do that.
The right wing has been constantly saying that a lot of these
has very little to do with crime.
Right, but
and it has very little to do with
immigrants.
It has very little to do with the economy too. Mm-hmm. You know, there are a lot of other factors that have to do with the economy. But Trump can't talk about them because he doesn't know about the economy. He doesn't know about money. You know, he knows how to lose it.
I have an idea.
All Trump did was Trump continued Obama's plan that got us out of the Great Recession. You know, not that I agree with Obama with what he did, but the fact is he set it in motion. It was going, you look at any chart, and the chart is just going on a constant curve up. And so, you know, Trump talked about everything, but he just sat on what Obama had set in place for the economy. The only change he made was giving the billionaires extra tax breaks. But otherwise, you know, so Trump just sat on what Obama had started. But so many people aren't aware of that. And they think it was, I mean, to them, it was a good time. They had, you know, the economy was good. The economy was growing. We had come out of a recession. Everyone was like, yes, this is good. We got jobs, we got money, and the inflation had not yet kicked in. So there you are. Yeah. That's why they like Trump's economy.
Alan?
Yeah, well, he is a tool.
Yeah, Alan?
So I'm registered independent and obviously a lean Democrat, but I'm concerned about the border because we are at a critical stage right now. Jamie something or other, he's the head of J.P. Morgan Chase, said we're about 40% chance of going into a recession.
Jamie Dimon, is that his name?
Jamie Dimon, thank you.
He's been saying that every year for about 3 years so that he can make money. But...
Well, yeah, but we are close to that. You know, I mean, the Fed didn't do an emergency when the stock market dropped. The Fed didn't care. They didn't do an emergency, lowering the taxes. I mean, the interest rate. It's just kind of unheard of.
The last week or so, it took a real drop, took a real nosedive.
But I have a lot of stock, and I understand that too.
Yeah,
but it came back up somewhat.
But eventually, it'll go right back to where it was. You know,
that's my point is that a lot of people are coming in here illegally, and the ones of us that pay taxes are going to have to pay more taxes to feed, clothe, and house these people.
Yeah, but Trump's using that as
better
fear.
Control.
But Trump's using that as fear, saying he's coming here to murder your kids, murder your wife.
Of course he is.
Take jobs. He's using it as a fear factor.
I can guarantee you,
the ones that don't murder people are taking your jobs. You know. Hello, Don Giller.
You got my $10?
Yeah, I got your $10.
Okay, good.
This guy pays off a bet. Okay, I couldn't even remember what the bet was, and I saw $10 show up in my PayPal.
I made one prediction back in '68, and I thought I knew everything.
Really?
So.
Next time you got to have Don personally give it to you. You'll never get it.
Did you get it plus interest?
No. What was it? Tell him what it was, Don.
I thought that Harris would pick Shapiro.
Yeah.
You thought that in '68?
Yeah. No. In '68, I thought that.
No, he didn't think that in '68. But anyway, he said that he would bet me, and I think I must have agreed with you. I bet you $10 that he.
No, you didn't agree to anything reciprocal.
Oh, you just said you bet me $10 that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
remember he held up the $10 in this.
And also, I'd figured you needed the money.
And you got to realize this guy's unemployed, so I mean, he can't afford that $10.
So why don't you send him back $100?
Yeah.
Yeah. So why don't you give him $90 more back since he's unemployed and you're wealthy?
Yeah.
What do you think I am, a communist?
Hey, Don, pull a folder, please.
Yeah, pull a folder. Oh, wait a minute.
Oh, you did that one last week.
You did that one last week. We saw that.
That reminds me, communists, whatever. Did any of you read how Kamala Harris's parents met?
I don't know, the communist meeting. I don't know.
They were at a an activist meeting that was affiliated with the Black Panthers.
Yeah.
Who are definitely communists.
Yep.
No, you know,
Those are definitely criminals.
That seems logical to me because they were black activists.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Her father was very much a black activist. And he would be there with the Black Panthers, you know?
Yeah.
So I mean, good for him, you know? She comes
He
from
also
good.
has a PhD, and he is very much educated.
She comes from very good stock, you know, and that's, you know.
So I don't know what you think or everyone, but it seems to me like the election this year is going to come down to more about personality than it is about policy. In other words, what I mean is, you know, you hear two people talking at your work or whatever, and it's like you'll hear things like, well, "You're for Biden? That fucking guy can't even put two sentences together." Or, "Well, you're for Trump? You know, he's a jackass." I mean, it's not. I don't really hear about, well, you know, you're for Harris or you're for Biden. They want to, you know, cut the national interest rate by 1/4%. You know, or I mean, it's not. It's more about.
Josh, you are totally right. In fact, the left wing. I communicate a lot with left-wing people. Maybe Charlie does too. But the thing that they are talking about is we haven't heard any policy yet. And they are really upset about that. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think that it's important to have the policy?
Seems like it's more about who you can trust than it is about
I think
what they want to do.
I think she's also done a very good job, however, at stating that we need to change the way we do business in this country and the way we relate to each other. And I think you have to solve that problem before you can solve any of the others.
Close the border.
I'm not necessarily assigning like blame for whose fault that is, or if it's right or it's wrong. I'm just saying I've just observed that it seems to be more about people's reaction to the person than it is to their policy.
Oh yeah, they've noticed.
I agree with you 100%.
Seems that way.
And I think the real challenge is, what can we, if you want to say we, can convince people who normally have liked Trump and say, you know what, I'm not going to vote this year. They don't even have to say that word. All they have to be, he's such a jerk this year.
Can they convince 1% of the population in 5 states that he cannot be trusted?
There you go.
Again,
he keeps talking about Hannibal Lecter and what a great guy he was, and he's not even real.
That's the funny part about that one.
Remember, I was with the campaign that turned Alaska, which was red, for 50 years. We turned it blue. And the way we did it was talking about things that people cared about. And that was the thing. In other words, the one thing that everybody pretty much agrees, even though obviously the image of the Democrats is a little bit different, but everybody agrees, keep the government out of my life, my body, whatever. And so we talked to people who were pro-life, and we are like, yes, we understand, we respect your opinion. However, do you really want the government to be telling you to do anything? That's the same thing that the Democrats are saying, is they don't want the government in their life either. And if we can agree to keep the government out of our personal lives, then we're good. And that was something that everybody agreed on. And it's easy to get that kind of correlation. We purposely called Republicans because it was a Republican state. So we purposely called Republicans and related to them and were able to convince them to vote for a Democrat. And that's how you do it. You have to do it on the populist issues. You can't do it on Democrat issues.
We've got
Republican.
that, you know, we've got a certain amount of people in this country who are independents. And those people have to be convinced. And I think they're sick and tired of the weirdness of a Donald Trump campaign. And this brings a certain freshness to it that could drag over all those independents. And it could also take a lot of Democrats who were standing by the door saying, I don't know if I'm going to go out and vote on this one. I don't know if I want to vote for Biden or not. I think there's enough enthusiasm here that the Democrats who weren't going to vote will vote. If the Democrats just come out in strong numbers, okay, they'll beat the Republicans, because the Trump Republicans, if it's a rainy day, they ain't going out the door. Okay?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Would you agree with me on that, Brian?
Yeah, I agree, because, before the whole Kamala thing, it was like these two guys, people don't want to vote for either one of them. We want a clean slate and get two different people, right? Well, at least on the side that I like, it has a new person, and now good. Now I really feel that my vote is going for where I want it, not just like, I got to just vote for Biden because he's the only person that could beat Trump. Well, now I can vote for somebody who I like. So
I mean, like I said, they only need 1% and 4 or 5 different. I mean, and it doesn't matter if they get 0.5% new people, 0.5% flipped. They just need 1%.
Yeah.
to do what they did last time, or to do something different, and that could be it. If they do 2%, that brings us to what you were talking about.
When we were calling Republicans, there were the hardcore Trump people, and it was really difficult to talk to those people who were absolutely sold. Just like Josh said, you can talk to them all day long. You can give them any excuse. They were going to be Trump no matter what, and they were going to be hardcore Republican. But there are a lot of never Trumpers. There are a lot of people who have seen now that things are questionable. There's a lot of Republicans who are in that camp that you can talk to. There's also, of course, the independents, as you guys mentioned. And yes, I completely agree. Again, from talking to voters, we had to get people motivated to get to the polls. If we didn't do that with the Democrats, in fact, in Alaska, they were really, it's been 50 years of a Republican. So why would we change? Why bother going to the polls? It's going to just be the same old thing all over again. You had to excite them. Yeah, that's it.
So anyway, we'll excite them. We'll play with their testicles.
Everybody has wives and daughters.
Yeah.
That should be reason enough to get out the vote.
Okay, well, we've gotten to a point in our program now where we come to a segment we call The Last Minute with Don Giller.
I want to see him pull something from the middle.
He is our last minute man, I call him.
I just have one question. It was something that you talked about last Friday, and I don't pretend to know the answer, whether you're right or wrong. I'm just confused. Alex, you said, I think on Friday, that Harris had to pick a VP by yesterday because of some time limit. And my question is, as far as I know, up to 1992, every VP pick was announced during that part of the convention.
All of a sudden, a lot of that has changed in a lot of states. They have to have the vice presidential candidate known so they can put that person on the ballot of that state. And Tuesday was the cutoff date. At least that's what I heard from Marjorie. But then again, what does she know?
Yeah,
Actually, the cutoff date was today, the 7th.
Was it?
And that's why they had to announce by Tuesday, so they would know on the 7th.
Okay, so I'm right about
that. How new is that?
Apparently, it's more recent, because when I was a kid, they didn't say who the nominee was going to be until the convention was almost over.
You didn't know who the president was going to be until...
It'd take too long to explain it. It had something to do with the ballot in Ohio. And some dirty tricks the state legislature played here to try to keep Joe Biden off the ballot originally.
So was it just
retaliation for the Trump deal in Colorado, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah. Okay. Hey, listen, our theme is playing.
Don, your $10 is in the mail.
Can you all hear the theme playing?
That's what Roberta said.
Okay, good.
I hear it.
See, I fixed the problem once and for all. Anyway, hey, listen, it's always good to have you here, Roberta. You round out this panel beautifully with your knowledge and your expertise. I really appreciate it. Jeff, great to have you still up there in Maine.
Yes, sir.
Right. Are you having any lobsters up there?
I had lobster big lobster.
You get pretty sick of lobster after a while, don't you?
I know.
Is it a Jewish lobster, Jeff?
Very kosher.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. It was the non-trafe lobsters. And also, thank you very much, Alan, for being here. Charlie Wallace, great having you here. Josh, you know it's a pleasure. Brian, never can have you on enough. Same goes for Bree and Don Giller. We always enjoy you calling at the last moment. And there's Paul Schaefer and Mickey Rooney in the show A Year at the Top, right?
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, hey, that's it. I got to see you all later. That's it for us right now. I'm Alex Bennett. Thank you all for calling. And we say goodbye to all of you. Wave goodbye, will you? And I'll wave goodbye at you. There they go, folks. Next is the intersection with Amy Manuel. She'll be taking your calls on Skype at Gabnet Live. I'll see you again tomorrow, same time, same station in life. And in the meantime, as always, if you see her, tell her I love her, okay? Bye-bye, everybody.